send you one with a couple surprises. And I will show the postcards on camera. Only if you want me to. If you don't want me to, just say don't show. And then as of November 1st to December 20th, I'm going to do a holiday card exchange. I celebrate Christmas, whatever you celebrate. We can exchange cards and find a new way. That's another way we connect with each other. And we're all part of this community. And it makes for 2 reasons. These candles and this book. And I got it, so I was quite happy. Now for the new people, I always choose books like this. Either fairy tales with very few or no illustrations, or chicken soup books. I love chicken soup books. Okay, I think they're great. I actually have a dog and cat one too, but I worry about people who've lost pets and things, so let me know if you'd like me to read a couple from those. I haven't read a single one from this yet. Think Possible, 101 stories about using a positive attitude to improve your life. Amy Newmark and Deborah Norville. Now, I'll start reading one from here, but if I think it's that whole, smile when you're sad and you'll be fine, we're not doing that because we know we don't believe in it. But I think these might just be inspiring. So I choose the no illustration books so that I can read it and you can follow along and just listen and not look at the camera at all, or not look at the screen, sorry. And just close your eyes and go to sleep to the sound of my voice going on and on and on. And the other thing is, you can believe in whatever higher power you want. But I have faith that when I open this book, I will land on a story that one of you needs to hear tonight. And it could be you, or you, or you, or you, or you, or you down there in the back. Okay? So, and Angel needs her glasses. And I do look down when I read, because my glasses with the ring light will make it glare and it just looks ridiculous. And this just makes me look old, which I am not. So we shall begin. Please close your eyes and be ready. This one is called A Treasure-Filled Life. And the quote is, okay, I'm just trying to see it. Failure will never overtake me if my determination to succeed is strong enough. And that's Og Mendemo. Okay, so we'll try that first. It was a hot August day, 19 days after my 4th birthday, when my life changed dramatically. One day, I was a lively, active little girl who rode a bike, dragged her little brother along on adventures, and loved riding horses. The next day, I was falling every few steps and getting up, only to stumble and fall again. For 11 months, I was unable to breathe on my own, needing an iron lung to pump air in and out of my lungs. Whereas I had been active and independent, I became 90% dysfunctional without the use of any of my limbs. Bathing, dressing, eating, and using the bathroom were no longer things I could do for myself. I am a survivor of the polio epidemic. The following 9 years were filled with surgeries on my hands, my legs, and my spine. I soon learned that life was about adjusting. Each surgery required changes. I would write with my hands a certain way, and after the surgery, I would need to find a new way. Once, during a prolonged stay in bed, my mother stuck a pencil in my mouth and encouraged me to write my algebra equations, and I made it work. As a teenager, I started thinking about what life would be like and what it could offer. Living independently, a career, marriage, children, travel. These became my dreams. I was a shy, quiet introvert, and I kept all of these images of victory close to my heart. I learned I needed to project an open, friendly, positive attitude towards others so that they could get past my appearance as a young woman with a twisted torso in leg braces in a wheelchair. As time passed, I worked with myself to truly become that open, friendly, positive person. I was active in high school and I carried a full academic load. first power wheelchair didn't arrive until I was in my early 20s. And then, oh, how I love that freedom. I attended 2 years of college, my brother being my ride the first year, and friends working out rides for the second. Wheelchair accessibility was not available in those days. I acquired lots of friends, girls who were willing to hold my books, and many good-looking guys who liked to carry me up and down the stairs. One of my college friends received a job offer in Maryland and needed a live-in babysitter for her 6- and 8-year-old children for the summer, and I accepted the job. The kids and I had fun, and I stayed on. I have lived in Maryland ever since. I qualified for a computer programming class for persons with severe disabilities, which included the opportunity to live in with full care provided. Without finger mobility and dexterity, I had to learn a way to type. So the school taught me to use a stick in my mouth. I have never won a typing contest, but I still type 14.5 words a minute. In 1980, I was encouraged to enter the Miss Wheelchair Maryland beauty pageant. The pageant focused on women in wheelchairs who were accomplishing goals in their lives. I entered, and I won. Later, I went on to the Miss Wheelchair USA pageant. The pageant afforded me many opportunities. I met government officials, made personal appearances at various disability awareness events, and I even was asked to represent the pageant at the Pimlico race course. I had liked riding horses as a child, so visiting Pimlico and being up close and personal with 2,000-pound racehorses was just a dream come true for me. The pageant prizes included a set of Samsonite luggage, and I still have them, some money, and a clothes shopping spree. It was wonderful for someone like me who could be out looking for a job soon. Like many young people, I furnished my first apartment by shopping at Goodwill and local flea markets. My teachers gave me a set of wine glasses and groceries. It was Christmas time, and 2 classmates gave me a hand-me-down tree and some ornaments. I still have one of those ornaments 35 years later. My mother moved in with me while I went to search for a job. Daily, I would pore over the newspaper ads, and with a loaner typewriter, my mother would type my application letters as I dictated them. A computer keyboard easily responded to my typing with my mouth stick, but this borrowed typewriter did not. To my delight, the Social Security accommodations hired me. When asked if I had transportation, I replied, yes, even though I had no idea how I was going to get to and from. I scrambled to pull rides together, and with the help of a cab driver who happened to live in my building, it worked. This sufficed as I wanted for special transportation through the local bus service. This began my 14 and a half years of service at the Social Security Administrations. Retired now, I have what I needed to take care of my 90-year-old mother and myself. I travel. I enjoy Ravens football games. I attend plays and concerts. And I do anything else that I set my mind to. As a child, I wasn't supposed to live past my teens. These introverted, painful surgeries that I endured in my life and the medical advances that I have been able to deal with as I aged have extended my life. As I approach 70, I am looking forward to many more years of quality living. My latest goal is to go on a cruise, and I can hardly wait for the ocean view, a stack of books, and of course, more new friends. It does not matter that I am in a wheelchair and I need people to help me with these details. What matters is that I have never given up on my dreams. I have held on to them and believed they would come to pass, taking advantage of every opportunity that presented itself. No, I haven't married, but I have had many a gorgeous hunk carry me over the threshold. I haven't given birth to children, but I have enjoyed the antics, pouts, and love of all of my friends' children. I attained an education, I've enjoyed a career, and I live independently. For goodness sakes, I won a beauty pageant. I have ridden across the countryside on Christmas Eve and delivered baked goods and presents to my friends as if I were Santa Claus. I have gotten up every morning of my treasure-filled life, and I try to live each day to the utmost. If you never give up, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. Sidna Elrod. That's a lovely story. Not all of us are lucky enough to have that in our life, but I think we all try. We all know what determination is. So I think I'll read one more from the original Chicken Soup for the Soul book. And I think we'll read Willing to Pay the Price. I don't know what it's about, guys. And the quotation is from Claude MacDonald, and it's opportunity. Opportunity is a bird that never perches. Cool. When my wife, Marianne, and I were building our Greens Point Mall hair salon 13 years ago, a Vietnamese fellow would stop by each day to sell us donuts. He spoke hardly any English, but he was always friendly, and through smiles and sign language we got to know each other. His name was Lee Van Woo. During the day, Lee worked in a bakery, and at night he and his wife listened to audio tapes to learn English. I later learned that they slept on sackfuls of sawdust on the floor in the back room of the bakery. In Vietnam, the Van Vu family was one of the wealthiest in Southeast Asia. They owned almost 1/3 of North Vietnam, including huge holdings in industry and real estate. However, after his father was brutally murdered, Lee moved to South Vietnam with his mother, where he was sent to school and eventually became a lawyer. Like his father before him, Lee prospered. He saw an opportunity to construct buildings to accommodate the ever-expanding American presence in South Vietnam, and soon became one of the most successful builders in the country. On a trip to the north, however, Lee was captured by the North Vietnamese and thrown into a prison for 3 years. He escaped by killing 5 soldiers, and he made his way back to South Vietnam, where he was arrested again. The South Vietnamese government had assumed he was a plant from the north. After serving time in prison, Lee got out and started a fishing company, eventually becoming the largest canner in South Vietnam. When Lee learned that the U.S. troops and embassy personnel were going to pull out of his country, he made a life-altering decision. He took all of the gold he had hoarded, loaded it aboard one of his fishing vessels, and sailed with his wife out to the American ships in the harbor. He then exchanged all of his riches for safe passage out of Vietnam to the Philippines, where he and his wife were taken into a refugee camp. After gaining access to the president of the Philippines, Lee convinced him to make one of his boats available for fishing, and Lee was back in business. Before he left the Philippines 2 years later en route for America, which was his ultimate dream, Lee had successfully developed the entire fishing industry in the Philippines. But en route to America, Lee became distraught and depressed about having to start over again with nothing. His wife tells of how she found him near the railing of the ship, about to jump overboard. Lee, she told him, "If you do jump, what will become of me? We've been together for so long and through so much. We can do this together." It was all the encouragement that Lee Van Vu needed. When he and his wife arrived in Houston in 1972, They were flat broke and spoke no English. In Vietnam, family takes care of family, and Lee and his wife found themselves ensconced in the back room of his cousin's bakery in the Greens Point Mall. We were building our salon just a couple of 100 feet away. Now, as they say, here comes the message part of this story. Lee's cousin offered both Lee and his wife jobs in the bakery. After taxes, Lee would take home $175 a week and his wife $125. Their total annual income, in other words, was $15,600. Further, his cousin offered to sell them the bakery whenever they could come up with a $30,000 deposit. The cousin would finance the remainder with a note for $90,000. And here's what Lee and his wife did. Even with the weekly income of $300, they decided to continue to live in the back room. They kept clean by taking sponge bath for 2 years in the mall's restroom. For 2 years, their diets consisted almost entirely of baked goods. Each year, for 2 years, they lived on a total, that's right, a total of $600, saving $30,000 for the down payment. Lee later explained his reasoning. If we got ourselves an apartment, which we could afford on $300 a week, we'd have to pay the rent, and then we'd have to buy furniture, and then we'd have to have transportation to and from. So that meant that we'd have to buy a car, and then we'd have to buy gasoline and insurance. And we'd probably want to go to places in the car, which would mean clothes and toiletries. So I knew that if we got that apartment, we would never get our $30,000 together. Now, if you think you've heard everything about Lee, let me tell you there's more. After he and his wife had saved the $30,000 and bought the bakery, Lee once again sat down with his wife for a serious chat. They still owed $90,000 to his cousin. And as difficult as the past 2 years had been, they had to remain living in that back room for 1 more year. I am proud to tell you that in that year, my friend and my mentor, Lee Van Vu and his wife, saving virtually every nickel of profit from the business, paid off the $90,000 note, and in just 3 years, owned an extremely profitable business, free and clear. Then, and only then, the Van Vus went out and got their first apartment. To this day, they continue to save on a regular basis, live on an extremely small percentage of their income, and of course, always pay cash for their purchases. Do you think that Lee Van Vu is a millionaire today? Well, I'm happy to tell you, many times over. John McCormack. Okay, not everyone's able to do that again, but it is a life-affirming story, you know? And I hope most of you are asleep, or at least relaxed. And I want you to close your eyes if you're not, and gently drift into sleep. And know that I love you, I value you, I honor you, and I'm so very, very glad that you were born. Happy World Mental Health Day to everyone.